Hello everyone, you're watching The Name of Jesus, Jesus-Zeus Connection Debunked, and more. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the idea that Jesus' name comes from the pretend Greek god that was called Zeus. On YouTube, there are several videos that claim that the name Jesus, as we see it in English, like here, actually comes from the name Zeus, which is shown in English here. Now, obviously, I'm opposed to this idea, and there's a lot of reasons to be opposed to this idea, and that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. The letters that make up Jesus' name and the name Zeus are different. The Greek letter that turns into a Z in Zeus is the sixth letter of the Greek alphabet. That letter is called zeta. The Greek letter that turns into an S in Jesus twice is the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet. That letter is called sigma. Further, Jesus in Greek is spelled Iesius. This letter is, the I-looking letter is iota. This is eta. This is sigma. This is omicron. This is upsilon, and then the last one is just another form of sigma. So this is one form, this is another form, same letter, and it's pronounced Iesus. But Zeus in Greek is spelled ZEFS. Zeta, epsilon, upsilon, and then final sigma. So you can see that zeta in Greek is a completely different letter than this, though of course this is capital, the zeta is, but there's a lot more reasons to that to believe what I'm saying, but we'll go over it as I go. There is no connection. So when you compare Zeus in English with Jesus in English, completely different. ZS, completely different. When you compare it in Greek, Jesus, Iesus, or in English characters, but the Greek word Iesus, and the name Zeus in Greek, Zephs, completely different. This is a different letter than this. And there's a lot of other differences too, but as I said, I'll address it as I go. The names Jesus and Zeus might sound somewhat similar in English, but even in English, you can see the difference. Z compared to S, and in Greek, omicron upsilon sigma, or us compared to epsilon upsilon sigma, or Fs. So that is talking about the end of the word here. See, EUS, which transliterates from Greek into English, the end of the word would be EUS, as shown here and here, compared to OUS, the transliteration from the Greek word into English characters. The word ends in OUS, the last three letters of the word, I should say. Completely different. OUS, not the same as EUS. That was the simple answer. It's almost good enough by itself to show that the name Jesus has nothing to do with the name Zeus. But proponents for this idea might still object, and they also make other claims. So let's go over what they claim. Jesus comes from Zeus claims. Jesus' name comes from Zeus because the names sound similar. You might notice that I have numbers here. This represents that this is a top level title or topic. This is a sub 2 is below 1, and then below 2 you'll see 3, and so on, so that you can kind of see the flow of the document. I decided to add that in, so now you know. Some people connect the somewhat similar sounding name of Jesus with the name Zeus. The thing is, even in English, it doesn't really sound the same. When we pronounce Jesus in English, we pronounce it Jesus, or Jesus, Jesus. Only if you slur the word does it sound like Zeus. So Jesus sounds like Zeus, but does that matter? we can slur bud and good to make them sound similar too. Bood, good. But if that's not how they're supposed to be pronounced, or even how they're normally pronounced, then where's the connection? You may be wondering about Greek. The names Jesus and Zeus are both supposed to be Greek words, right? So what do they sound like in Greek? That is a good question. In this chart, I show three different pronunciations. There is modern Greek pronunciation, biblical Greek pronunciation, and classical Greek pronunciation. In the first column, modern Greek pronunciation, you will see the modern Greek pronunciation of Jesus in Greek at the top, and then just below that in the same field, then you will see the spelling. So this is the pronunciation, this is the spelling within parentheses in Greek characters. This is the spelling of Zeus, or pronunciation of Zeus, and this is the spelling of Zeus in Greek characters. So this is modern Greek, this column. This is biblical Greek, this is classical Greek. In modern Greek, which obviously is how they pronounce it nowadays, Jesus would be pronounced Iesius, Iesius, with the accent on sus. Not Iesius, but Iesius. And Zeus would be pronounced ZEUS. In biblical Greek, which is how Paul would have spoken Greek, biblical Greek is also called Koine Greek, or Hellenistic Greek, which Hellenistic has no connection at all to the word hell. It has to do with Greek, but it's a Greek way of saying Greek. So in biblical Greek, Jesus would have been pronounced Iesus, Iesus. Again, the accent is on sus. Zeus would have been pronounced the same way as it is in modern Greek, Zeus. In classical Greek, which is like Homer's time, Plato's time, things like that, a long time ago, Jesus would have been pronounced Iesus, Iesus, with the accent on sus. Iesus, Iesus. Zeus would have been pronounced different, and it's kind of hard for me to pronounce it. It's Zeus, Zeus, or something like that. The epsilon makes a S sound, and then the upsilon, or shown here, upsilon makes a U sound, I believe, and you're supposed to glide them together. It's Zeus, something like that. So you can see Iesus, Zeus, Iesus, Zeus for biblical Greek, modern Greek, classical Greek, Iesus, and Zeus. In the chart above, you can see the way the names Jesus and Zeus are pronounced in modern times, how they were pronounced in New Testament times, biblical Greek, and how they were pronounced in Greece's classical times. Not only are the names Jesus and Zeus spelled differently, as you can see here. Now notice they're always spelled the same way no matter which pronunciation system you use. It's not the names Jesus and Zeus that changed, it's just the way that they were pronounced. They were still spelled exactly the same. Actually, well, I'll get to that in a second. Not only are the names Jesus and Zeus spelled differently, as you can see here, comparing them, they also sound different in Greek. Out of the three pronunciation systems, the classical pronunciation of the names sounds the closest. But the Greek form of the name Jesus wouldn't have been around until Alexander the Great conquered much of the world, which was after Greece's classical times. So, even if this could have been a foothold for the idea that the name Jesus comes from the name Zeus, it quickly evaporates into thin air. All right, so 2. This is the second claim. SOS, SEUS, and SUS means Zeus. According to some, SOS, SEUS, and SUS at the end of a name means Zeus. Supposedly, J.C.J. Metford claimed this in Dictionary of Christian Lore and Legend. Now, I say supposedly because I did not verify this myself. I don't think I've ever heard of J.C.J. Metford before, but he very well could have said that SOS, SEUS, and SUS at the end of a name means Zeus. So if you wanted to look that up yourself, go ahead. Here's the information. I don't think it's necessary for this video. First of all, if this were true, why wouldn't it be in most common dictionaries for everyone to learn? Isn't this a groundbreaking discovery? Why would the Bible dictionaries, commentaries, and other books written by highly intelligent individuals not say anything about it? The only thing proponents of these ideas can say is that it's a conspiracy. But even conspiracies have to be within the realms of logic and fact to be true, right? If so, let's examine things closer. SOS, SEUS, and SUS are not in Jesus' name. Now, you might say, but wait a minute, SUS, SUS. That's English. I'm talking about Greek. Okay, they say that the claim is that Jesus means something Zeus. And Zeus is a Greek god. So it makes sense if we go back to the Greek and figure out how Jesus was spelled and sounded in Greek. Right? Okay, so as I said above, Jesus is spelled Iesius in Greek. This is the Greek characters without any accent marks or breathing marks, just the letters themselves. There is no SOS, SEUS, or SUS in Iesius. You can compare SOS compared to this. These are English characters, English characters. There is no SOS, SEUS, or SUS in this name at all. If you watch closely enough, you'll see proponents of the Jesus Zeus name idea breeze right over this problem, as if they can't see it even though it's right in front of their face. The fact is, even if these letter combinations had something to do with the name Zeus, they have nothing to do with Jesus' name. You can see for yourself. Nothing. They're not even in there. Maybe if you get rid of one of the letters, but this is the way that it is. You can't get rid of one of the letters to make it fit what you think that it should be. And if you have to, then you're wrong. So now we know that Jesus' name isn't connected to the name Zeus. But what about those letter combinations? Do they have something to do with the name Zeus? So even though Jesus in Greek has nothing to do with SOS, SEUS, or SUS, what if SOS, SEUS, and SUS do mean Zeus? Do they? Word endings. Word endings OS. Let's look at the word isos, which is a Greek adjective that means equal. Does it have something to do with Zeus because it has the SOS letter combination in it? Now let's examine this word, isos. In English, characters is ISOS. So it therefore contains SOS at the end of the word. Now obviously this isn't a name, but I'm still making my point. Contains SOS. Does that have something to do with Zeus? No. The words isos and ponos are similar. In which way are they similar? They both end in OS. See? They both have the word ending OS. The truth is, most of the time when you see a word that ends in SOS, what you're really seeing is a Greek root that ends in S and the word ending OS. So, isos is composed of its root IS. and its word ending os, which form Iesius. Is plus os equals isos. So this is the word ending os. This is the root of the word Iesios, which is is. Now you can tell this when you know Greek and you look at the words because the word ending will change, which is another thing I'm going to bring up later on in this video. It is misleading to say that SOS at the end of a word means something. S just happens to be the end of some word roots, and OS is a common word ending. Word endings, S. Next, let's look at the name Theseus, a mythical Athenian prince that killed a minotaur. Does Theseus's name have something to do with Zeus because it has the SEUS letter combination in it? If you look up here, SEUS in Theseus. And Theseus, compared to Iesios, is actually a name. Okay. No. The words Theseus and Aspis, or in Greek it'd be pronounced Thesefs and Aspis, an asp, Aspis being an asp, which is a snake, it's a poisonous snake, are similar. So the words Thesefs and Aspis are similar. In which way are they similar? How are they similar? They both have the word ending S. S. Now, I want you to notice that I'm using word ending as kind of a technical term, though it's not really the normal word that you would use, but I am using it as a technical term. I mean something very specific. When I say word ending, I'm contrasting the word ending with the word root. The word root is the word itself. The word ending is the ending that's added on to the root. Okay, so I'm contrasting the word root with the word ending, even though this isn't really the technical term that you would use. The truth is, when you see a word that ends in seus, what you're really seeing is a Greek root that ends in seu and the word ending s. So Theseus is composed of its root theseu and its word ending s, which form Thesefs. Theseu plus s equals Theseuss. It is misleading to say that seus at the end of a word means something. Seu just happens to be the end of some word roots, and s is another word ending, though less common than os. And I want to make sure that something else is clear because basically my point is they say seus at the end of a word or at the end of a name means Zeus, right? Except when you know Greek and you look at the word, you will see that s is the word ending. This is the root. So this is a separate entity than this. They are saying that these four letters mean something, but they can't mean anything because this is one complete full object or word. It's a root. This is a word ending. This is completely separate from the rest. Completely separate. Same with up above with os. In this example, Iesios, this is the root, which is completely separate from the word ending. And this word ending, like I said, is a common word ending. You can see it in this word as well. Same ending, different root. So to say that SOS in this word means Zeus is misleading because OS is separate from IS. They're splitting it here when really it's split here. So that's my point. Word endings, US. Now notice I crossed this out. Finally, let's look at the English word Ephesus. Does Ephesus have something to do with Zeus because it has the SUS letter combination in it? If we look at Ephesus, we notice at the end of the word or name, it has SUS. So does it have something to do with Zeus? Your guess is probably no. Ephesus is a Latin version of the word. In Greek, emphasis is called ephesos. Notice the U is replaced with an O. Or actually, I'll show it here. EPHESUS is the Latin version, and EPHESOS is the Greek version. Now, obviously, in Greek, it would be in Greek characters, but again, just so that you can compare them and you can see, it's called transliterating. I'm showing the Greek word in English letters. US isn't a Greek word ending, and neither is SUS. In fact, almost every Greek word that in English has US at the end actually has OS at the end in Greek, unless it ends in EUS, like thesis. So, Ephesus in Greek is Ephesos, Argus is Argos, Tarsus is Tarsefs or Tarsos, and so on. The truth is, US is not a Greek word ending. Now you can see in these examples, Ephesus in English, it ends in US. However, that's a Latinized version of the Greek word, which the Greek word ends in OS. Argus also ends in US. However, that's a Latinized version of the Greek word, which in Greek is Argos. Tarsus also ends in US. However, that's a Latinized version of two Greek words, two versions of, you could say it one way or the other. One way to say the word is Tarsefs, and another way to say it in Greek is Tarsos, depending on how you want to say it. Kind of like synonyms, they mean the same thing, and you might use one way or the other, just depending on what you think of first, or maybe maybe there's slight difference in meaning. One's a little bit harder to say, maybe, that kind of thing. Word endings change in Greek. When someone says taurus means bulldog because the letters US means dog, their statement hangs on the idea that whenever you say that word, taurus, you always say it the same way. So, obviously, if this means something in the word, if this means something, tar, like so in this example, bull, and us, US, means dog, giving the word taurus the meaning of bulldog because you have bull and then dog, then that assumes that this always stays the same to always mean bull, and this always stays the same to always mean dog, right? Makes sense. This is mostly true in English. Most of the time, words stay the same in English. There are times when words change, though, or different words are used. So this is mostly true in English, but not so in Greek. Did you know that word endings change in Greek depending on how the word is used in the sentence? If I wanted to say that Jesus said something, I would say Iesius. Again, a Greek word transliterated into English characters or letters. Iesius is a subject. If I wanted to say that Jesus said something, I would say Iesius. If I wanted to say that someone said something to Jesus, I would say Iesun. Iesus is Jesus' name used as the subject, in Greek, obviously. Iesun is Jesus' name used as an object. Notice the difference. Iesus ends in an S. Iesun ends in an N. Now, in reality, there is actually a contraction, I believe, that's going on here that you cannot see. There's actually an extra O, but with Greek, then the OU kind of swallows up the O and the S is only remaining. Same thing with this. Usually there'd be an extra O before the N, but the OU swallows up the O. And so there's only an N remaining. But that's Greek. If you were to learn Greek, you'd learn that. So it might look a little strange, but this word Iesus actually ends in OS, and then the O is swallowed up by the OU, because that's the way that Greek words are contracted. Is, was, sos a word in Greek? According to Strong and Wilk, it was, but they don't say anything about the supposed god Zeus. Here's what Strong said. From a primary, sos, contraction for obsolete, saos, safe. Here's what Thayer's translation of Wilk's dictionary says. Sos, safe and sound. Now, this is Strong. The definition comes from his definition of sozo, which you can look it up in Strong's Greek dictionary if you'd like to. And in that definition of the word sozo, he mentions that it comes from a primary word sos. That primary word sos is a contraction of saos, and saos means safe. Now, remember, this is Greek. Thayer translated Wilk's dictionary. So I believe Wilk wrote his dictionary in Latin. Thayer translated it into English, and this is what it says in English. Same thing, just like Strong. This information comes from the definition for sozo. He was saying that sozo comes from the word sos, which, as he says, means safe and sound. So, sos was a contracted form of saos, which meant safe. I don't believe this word exists in the Greek language anymore. We will continue right after this. Dynaglis.com or go-dine.com is still growing. From there, you can read one of the 8+ topical guide articles. As the name implies, each topical guide article covers a specific topic. You can get data-oriented information in the form of equations and tables from the general research section. This section will continue to grow as I try to address different topics and issues. You can create an account, post comments, and use the forums. You can, of course, look at the storefront to see what products are available for purchase. The storefront links to the products available at the Dynaglis store. I invite you to come and take a look at the website for yourself. We are back. Jesus means. Here are some claims concerning Jesus' name and the supposed compound words that end in SOS, SEUS, and SUS. Jesus, Greek Iesius, means Hail Jesus, so they say. These are my references that say that. Jesus, Greek Iesius, means son of Zeus. This is my references that say that. Now, these references don't necessarily claim this themselves. They might just be saying that other people claim this. Dionysus, Greek Dionysos, means son of Zeus. Ephesus, Greek Ephesos, means daughter of Zeus. Taurus, Greek Tavros, means bull of Zeus. Cronus, Greek Kronos, means father of Zeus. Those are the claims. I numbered them 1 through 6. That way I could number my responses to each of these claims 1 through 6 so that you know what I'm responding to. Here's my response to those claims. 1, which would be to this. The word that is usually used for hail or hello in Greek is hero. Now, first I want to explain, hail is an Old English term meaning hello. Hail also means, but it's a different meaning or a different word. It's spelled exactly the same. It sounds exactly the same. Hail also means hail that falls from the sky. They're not to be confused, obviously. Hail in Old English was a word that they used for hello. For example, in the well-known phrase, Hail Hitler. It's kind of like hello. It might have more meaning than that, but in the Bible, then there's a few times I believe where it says, the New Testament specifically, where it talks about hailing people, as in greeting them, saying hello. And the Greek word used for that is usually used for that, I don't know any other Greek word other than this is hero. Now, if you were to look up hero in the Greek dictionary, it means rejoice, but it was used as a greeting like our hello, kind of equivalent to good day. In English we say good day or good morning. They said rejoice. No form or part of the word hero is found in the name Iesius. You can compare it for yourself. English characters, but Greek word is not in there at all. Maybe the idea that Jesus means Hail Zeus comes from the Spanish name for Jesus, which is pronounced Jesus. And it actually seems kind of silly that people would think that. I can understand why people would think that, but for someone to be so strong about it and make YouTube videos about it, saying that that's true, if it's really all based off of a Spanish name, which, yes, Spanish is somewhat like Greek in some ways. It's also somewhat like Latin, but you have to go to the Greek to know what Greek is about. You have to go to Latin to know what Latin is about. You can't just look at an English word and say, oh, I know what, the Hebrew meaning of the word is. You have to go to the language. So it seems kind of silly for anyone to come to the conclusion that Jesus means Hail Zeus because in Spanish you pronounce it Jesus. But if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. And this is the best conclusion I know of why they would say, why anyone would think that Jesus means Hail Zeus, unless they just threw a dart at a board to figure out what the meaning of it was. This is the best conclusion I can come to. 2, which is to this, Jesus means son of Zeus. The word that always means sun in Greek, not to be confused with the sun in the sky, is ZEUS. No form or part of the word ZEUS is found in the name Iesius. Now, you might notice ZEUS sounds sort of similar, ZEUS, to E, but completely different. This is the U, or the EOS. U sound comes from 2 letters, upsilon iota. The E sound in Iesius comes from 1 letter, iota only. Completely different. Also, you'll notice, or you may notice, that OS in this word is the word ending. This is the root. This is the root, I believe, in Iesius. This is the ending, because like I said, the O is swallowed up by the OU. So this is the original root, and Ios doesn't fit anywhere in Iesius at all. Just like hero doesn't fit anywhere in Iesius. So 3, which goes to Dionysus, means son of Zeus. Now notice that the same person claims that Jesus means son of Zeus and Dionysus means son of Zeus. Might seem a little strange that they both mean son of Zeus even though they are both spelled completely differently. Alright, so 3. Though it is true that Theos is another form of the name Zeus in Greek. That's true. Like I said, how words change, well, Zeus is actually kind of a strange word. The whole root changes. It's like they had Zeus is one word, and Theos is another word, and they were both used for the same god, and maybe sometime along the line, then they started using Zeus for one, for the subject, and Theos for, or actually Theon for the object, even though they're different words. Sort of like how some of our words, they're actually originally different words, but we use them as just different forms of the words. We do the same thing in English. In the video, they say that Theos is a Latin word. Now, Dios is a Latin word, but it doesn't mean Zeus, not as far as I know. Now, I don't know Latin, but Theos is Greek. They're mixing it up with Latin, All right, so Nusos, the second half of the name Dionysus, probably doesn't mean sun. As I said above, Eos was usually used for sun. According to Wilk, the verb nuso means to pierce, or perhaps strike through. Though nuso is the closest word in the dictionary I could find, I don't know if it has anything to do with the name Dionysus. So Dionysus is is probably a compound word, like they claim. That part is true, but the meaning of it is different than what they say. This is probably from Theos, which means Zeus, and this possibly, now don't forget this is actually an O in Greek, so it'd be Dionysos. This is possibly Neuso, which according to Wilk means to pierce or perhaps, or I say perhaps strike through. So maybe Zeus pierces or Zeus um, strikes, like like a fatal blow, like someone stabs someone else with a spear through them. That would be a fatal wound. 4, which goes to Ephesus, means daughter of Zeus. The Greek word for daughter is thugater. I know it doesn't look pretty in English characters. Kore means girl or little girl in Greek. Neither thugater or kore are seen in the name Ephesos. Strong says that Ephesos probably comes from a foreign origin, foreign to Greek. So again, kore and thugater and kore are not seen in Ephesos at all. At all. 5, which is an answer to this. Taurus means bull of Zeus. Taurus, Tavros, just means a bull. You can see this in the word minotaur. Minos was the name of the king of Crete in a Greek myth. He tried to kill Theseus, another Greek myth character, with his minotaur, Minotavros. Minotavros is a compound word, combining Minos, the name of the king, with Tavros, a bull. It might mean, Minotavros might mean Minos's bull, so in other words, the bull that belongs to Minos, or Minos bull, which would be possibly Minos as a bull, as if Minos transformed into part bull, part human. In the story or the myth, then the Minotaur was a part bull, part human. He had a bull's head, and yeah. The word chronos or chronos means time, which is where the name of the pretend god Cronus comes from. Chronos, time. It has nothing to do with their claim that Cronus means father of Zeus. And wouldn't that be kind of convenient if Cronus meant father of Zeus? That meant everything revolves around Zeus, when supposedly he's supposed to be his father. That doesn't even make any sense. Even just looking at it in English, it's kind of hard to believe. Unless you believe that they know what they're talking about, and then you could be like, well, maybe it does. Well, enough about all of that. Let's talk about the name Jesus. Where did the name Jesus come from? To be honest, this isn't that hard of a question to answer if we keep it simple. All we need is a good dictionary. However, if you want a good understanding of the issue, you have to deal with 4 languages: English, Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. Here's what I understand happened with the name. First, a change occurred in the Hebrew language itself. Yehoshua, translated into English in the Bible as Joshua, was shortened to Yeshua, translated or transliterated into English in the Bible as Jeshua or Jeshua. Yeshua might be an Aramaic version of the name, because it's found only in 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, and Nehemiah. And these are my examples. You can look them up yourself. You will see that it mentions someone named Jeshua. Whether it's considered Aramaic, modern Hebrew, I believe, or ancient Hebrew, it seems like it came into being later on. So first of all, a change occurred in Hebrew itself. Yehoshua was shortened to Yeshua. Next, Yeshua was transliterated into Greek as Iesius, probably when Greek began to be the language of the world. Y became an I in the name Yeshua to Iesius. E became an E. SH became an S. U might have become OU, and A might have been dropped. So Y became an I, E became an E. The SH in Hebrew is one letter, and that became the letter S because there is no SH letter sound. It's just S. The U might have become the OU, and that makes up the root Iesu. The A might have been dropped. So I said, see the description below the video, reference 8. So if you look below my video in the description box, there are different references. For example, this information came from reference 3. And if you go to reference 8, if you click on it and go to that video, in that video's description box, reference 8, the description box below reference 8, then you will see a transliteration explanation or whatever he calls it, and it will basically say the same thing I'm saying here. And that's the reason why I decided to say that U became OU and A was dropped, because I'm trusting what he said. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about in that area. So all of that came together forming Yeshua's Greek root, Iesu. When used as a subject, Iesus. When used as an object, Iesun. In Greek characters, Iesus. Now notice this is Greek characters. This is an accent mark here. This is a, or not an accent. This is a breathing mark. This is an accent mark. So it does look a little bit different, but you can still see all the same characters. When the Bible was translated into Latin, Iesus became Iesius. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not really sure. Again, notice that US is a Latin ending, not Greek. So Iesus is the Greek version of Jesus. Iesus is the Latin version of Jesus. Notice that they took the OUS and changed it into a US because that is comfortable for the Romans, for people who speak Latin or spoke Latin. That's a Latinization of the word or of the name Iesus. Just like Iesus is a Greekanized version of the Hebrew name Yeshua. Eventually, the I in Iesus, or Iesus, became a J, making the name Jesus. Compare Iesus with Jesus. The I became a J. That's how you get Jesus. Today, when an I begins a Greek name, it normally turns into a J in English. Or at least this is how it works with Hebrew names that come to us through Greek. This includes John, James, Joseph, Joshua, Jonah, and other names. Now, all of these names are Hebrew names originally, but they were translated from Hebrew, transliterated from Hebrew into Greek, and then transliterated from Greek into Latin, and then transliterated from Latin into English. And that's that. So to make sure that you actually are able to follow my main points, I wrote a summary because I was concerned that I was presenting too much information and kind of muddying my my main portrait that I was trying to paint. So I wrote this summary. The names Jesus and Zeus are spelled differently and pronounced differently in Greek and in English. The letter combinations SOS, SEUS, and SUS are not even in the name Jesus in Greek. OS and S are normal word endings in Greek. This means that SOS and SEUS at the end of a word have nothing to do with compound words in Greek. This is a misunderstanding of how Greek works. US is a Latin word ending, not Greek. The idea that SUS means Zeus is a misconception, which comes from looking at Latinized Greek words. Greek word endings change depending on how the words are used in a sentence. For example, Ephesos becomes Epheson when used as an object. This proves that SOS, or any other letter combination, at the end of a word is not a word itself. Sos. Sos is actually an ancient Greek word that means safe. Even if SOS at the end of a word meant something, it wouldn't mean Zeus. It's clear that people are completely misunderstanding the issue, mixing Latin up with Greek, and inventing new meanings for Greek words. The name Jesus, the name above all names, is not the profane name of a false god. It's a transliteration of a Hebrew name. Yehoshua became Yeshua, which transliterated into Greek as Iesius, which transliterated into Latin as Iesius, which became our modern Jesus. Conclusion. After looking at the evidence, there is absolutely no reason to believe that Jesus' name came from the name of the fake god Zeus. Jesus is a legitimate transliteration of the name Yeshua that came to us from Hebrew, through Greek, and then through Latin. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was informative. I hope it was easy to understand, even though there's a lot of information. And if you like this kind of video, or you think that a video in the future I might make would be interesting, then please subscribe. Zeus. The thing is, even in English, it doesn't really sound the same. When we pronounce Jesus in English, we pronounce it Jesus, or Jesus, Jesus. Only if you slur the word does it sound like Zeus. So, Jesus sounds like Zeus. But does that matter? We can slur bud and good to make them sound similar too. Bood, good. But if that's not how they're supposed to be pronounced, or even how they're normally pronounced, then where's the connection? You may be wondering about Greek. The names Jesus and Zeus are both supposed to be Greek words, right? So what do they sound like in Greek? That is a good question. In this chart, I show 3 different pronunciations. There is modern Greek pronunciation, biblical Greek pronunciation, and classical Greek pronunciation. In the first column, modern Greek pronunciation, you will see the modern Greek pronunciation of Jesus in Greek at the top, and then just below that in the same field, then you will see the spelling. So this is the pronunciation, this is the spelling within parentheses in Greek characters. This is the spelling of Zeus, or pronunciation of Zeus, and this is the spelling of Zeus in Greek characters. Jesus in Greek is spelled Iesius. This letter is, the I-looking letter is iota, this is eta, this is sigma, this is omicron, this is upsilon, and then the last one is just another form of sigma. So this is one form, this is another form, same letter, and it's pronounced Iesius. But Zeus in Greek is spelled zephes, zeta, epsilon, upsilon, and then final sigma. So you can see that zeta in Greek is a completely different letter than this, though of course this is capital, the zeta is, but there's a lot more reasons to that to believe what I'm saying, but we'll go over it as I go. There is no connection. So when you compare Zeus in English with Jesus in English, completely different. ZS, completely different. When you compare it In Greek, Jesus, Iesius, or in English characters, but the Greek word Iesius, and the name Zeus in Greek, ZEUS, completely different. This is a different letter than this. And there's a lot of other differences too, but as I said, I'll address it as I go. The names Jesus and Zeus might sound somewhat similar in English, but even in English, so this is modern Greek, this column, this is biblical Greek, this is classical Greek. In modern Greek, which obviously is how they pronounce it nowadays, Jesus would be pronounced Iesius, Iesius, with the accent on sus, not Iesius, but Iesius. And Zeus would be pronounced Zephs. In biblical Greek, which is how Paul would have spoken Greek, biblical Greek is also called Koine Greek, or Hellenistic Greek, which Hellenistic has no connection at all to the word hell. It has to do with Greek, but it's a Greek way of saying Greek. So in biblical Greek, Jesus would have been pronounced Iesus, Iesus. Again, the accent is on sus. Zeus would have been pronounced the same way as it is in modern Greek, Zephs. In classical Greek, which is like Homer's time, Plato's time, things like that, a long time ago, Jesus would have been pronounced Iesus, Iesus, with the accent on sus. Iesus, Iesus. Zeus would have been pronounced different, and it's kind of hard for me to pronounce it. It's Zeus, Zeus, or something like that. The epsilon makes a S sound, and then the upsilon, or shown here, upsilon makes a U sound. You can see the difference, Z compared to S. And in Greek, omicron upsilon sigma, or us, compared to epsilon upsilon sigma, or Fs. So that is talking about the end of the word here. See, EUS, which transliterates from Greek and English, the end of the word would be EUS, as shown here and here, compared to OUS, the transliteration from the Greek word into English characters. The word ends in OUS, the last three letters of the word, I should say. Completely different. OUS, not the same as EUS. That was the simple answer. It's almost good enough by itself to show that the name Jesus has nothing to do with the name Zeus. But proponents for this idea might still object, and they also make other claims. So let's go over what they claim. Jesus comes from Zeus claims. Jesus' name comes from Zeus because the names sound similar. You might notice that I have numbers here. This represents that this is a top level title or topic. This is a sub 2 is below 1, and then below 2 you'll see 3, and so on, so that you can kind of see the flow of the document. I decided to add that in, so now you know. Some people connect the somewhat similar sounding name of Jesus with the name. Hello everyone, you're watching The Name of Jesus, Jesus-Zeus Connection Debunked, and more. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the idea that Jesus' name comes from the pretend Greek god that was called Zeus. On YouTube, there are several videos that claim that the name Jesus, as we see it in English, like here, actually comes from the name Zeus, which is shown in English here. Now, obviously, I'm opposed to this idea, and there's a lot of reasons to be opposed to this idea, and that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. The letters that make up Jesus' name and the name Zeus are different. The Greek letter that turns into a Z in ZEUS is the sixth letter of the Greek alphabet. That letter is called zeta. The Greek letter that turns into an S in Jesus, twice, is the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet. That letter is called sigma. Further,